Boo, boo. You're live. Okay, so I'm live. Boo, 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 boo. Boo, 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 boo. Hold on a minute, guys. Boo, 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 boo. Boo, 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 boo. I don't know. Put the thing back on. I have no idea where this heart came from, but they need to get rid of it. It's a pain. Every time you try and post, you can't see your post. Every time you guys type, I can't read your post because the heart's in the way. It's nonsense. Boo, 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 boo. Now I'm having a break from the telly for 20 minutes. No, we'll go back in a minute. Just catch up on all the stuff. Whoa. They done a really good job last night, Israel. Scrap metal guys in Gaza will be making a fortune. Any old iron, any old iron, any old iron. Anyone want to use mobile? $5. Come get your mobile. $5. Provide your own SIM card. Anyone want a car? Free. Boo, 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 boo. One parent rescued, the other remains in Hamas hands. Total chaos in Gaza after Israel's heaviest night of bombing yet. Israel angrily dismisses UN Gaza truce resolution. Yeah, right. People in Gaza uncontactable as Israel steps up strikes. Oh, not only did they take out the mobile network, but they took out the landline as well. So no one could get through on 101, which apparently is the emergency number. Giving birth in Gaza amid shelling and power cuts. You know, if you lived in Israel or you lived in Gaza, what they should do is make a 5 mile, or make it 10 mile exclusion zone each side of the border, like a DMZ, like a demilitarized zone, so that nobody lives within 10 miles of the border on either side, to give it a no-go area, basically. But then you can't really say that, not when they've got missiles that can now go 70 kilometers. What's that, about 50 miles? 70 km in MP. About 44 miles. Boo, 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 boo. I'm just having a break for a minute. Israel army claimed 150 underground targets for hitting Gaza overnight. Don't know if you can hear this, but we'll have a try. This Right, let me start this again. This is an alleged recording between an IDF officer and a member of the public in Gaza. Okay, let me restart. I'll try and translate. IDF officer, there is also a problem with the diesel and the gasoline. Energy official, there still is, there is. Where? They say there isn't. IDF officer, I'm talking to the hospital manager and he says there isn't. What? He gave the hospitals? No. Energy official, no, there is fuel. Those who have connections go to the gas station and there is fuel there. IDF officer, there is. So you're saying the guys control all the fuel issues? Energy official, yes, even gas. Energy official, whoever has connections brings a fuel container and fills it up using connections. IDF officer, even in the hospitals. Energy official, yes, they are the ones sending diesel to the hospitals. Energy official, and in the end, they are the ones who bring diesel because there is diesel. Who? Hamas? Energy official, yes, they have diesel for the gas stations. They have diesel, they have at least 1,000,000 litres. I'm telling you, like today, it's Thursday. I think there could be enough until next Thursday. Excuse me. Energy official still. Right now, the stations are full. Right now, the stations are full, and you take from them and bring diesel to the hospital. Energy official again. They load it on trucks and bring it to the hospitals. Listen, as of now, they could control Gaza Strip. No, sorry, rephrase that. Listen, as of now, they control the Gaza Strip. IDF officer, what about the tunnels? Energy official, everything. They still control the area. Honestly, I'm telling you. Underground, I'm sure they have at least 500,000 litres. As you know, they need oxygen in the tunnels and they need phones and they need showers and lighting there. Good God, let me repeat that bit. As you know, they need oxygen in the tunnels and they need phones, they need showers and lighting there. As you know, they need oxygen. Oh no, you already said that. IDF officer, there's 500,000 litres underground. At least. The terrible thing is that even if Israel will kill 10,000 civilians every day, it wouldn't matter to them, and they don't care. What is important to them is to stay in power. Wow. That's a taped conversation between an IDF officer and a member of the public from Gaza. No, sorry, not a member of the public, an energy officer, whatever that means. Let me play that again. I won't say anything this time. Right, I'm starting it again. Let me pause that a minute. Right, give me a minute. I'll put it on the website so you can go listen for yourself. Give me a sec. Hey, what happened there? Um, Boo, 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 boo. What would the world do now without the internet? Without the web? Sorry, not the internet. I'll see if I can find any more. Alright, hold on. I'm searching for more videos. Can't do it. It's not having it. Hold on. What have I just done? It's not letting me do it. I must have protected it. I can't copy it. I got it. Oh, what happened there? I got it. Oh, come on. It's not letting me. It's not letting me get the toast. Okay. It's not having it. No, I can't get it. Well, never mind. What's a hadder? My computer's not working. It's not letting me do anything. I said last night I thought I'd been hacked. Right, I've just found a video that will stop everybody supporting Palestine. Read the header. Right, the header is Hamas kids terrorist training camps. So they're not killing innocent kids, they're training them to be terrorists. And this is training videos that the IDF have got hold of from captured prisoners, I guess. It's not breaking up. That's me trying to copy the embed code, but it's not having it. Some of the videos are actually copyright protected, so I can't get them. Yeah, I can't get them. Never mind. We got enough. Apparently, Hamas fighters get £10,000 a year, sorry, $10,000 a year, and an apartment. So these apartment blocks that the IDF are bombing aren't innocent civilians at all. They're apartments for Hamas staff or fighters. I'm not saying these videos are free. I'm not saying these videos are true, but this is what the IDF are trying to tell people that's going on. Whether they're true or not, no idea. Judge for yourself. Why is it so hard for people to actually listen to what's said? This is why we've got all the protests worldwide, because people fail. People fail to listen. This is why we've got all the protests worldwide, because people are people are responding to media lies. Right, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna put you in the bedroom and you can watch the news for 10 minutes while I'm just downstairs cooking. Alright, I love it when the trolls start. I really do. Because I rip them to pieces. So funny. Hold on. Shattered security among Palestinians here. There is no place safe, which is practical. Right, give me 10 minutes. I'll be back. I'm just going to cook some lunch. United Nations officials expressed that there is no safe place in Gaza. What's really scary about this situation that these bombs are unpredictable. You could be with a group of people or in your home or out in the street just minding your own business, and there is a bomb falling either directly at your vicinity or near you or at the home, and either way you're going to be a victim of these falling bombs. So we are standing here and we are not really 100% sure that we are safe or not doing this, because we haven't heard any confirmation that hospitals are safe.
especially after the attack on the Lahali Baptist Hospital. But again, it just, no place is safe in Gaza, whether it's the hospital or in our homes or in the streets. It's a reality that we have to face.
Honey, once again, we really do appreciate all of your time and effort. That's Honey Mahmood for us in kindness. Since Israel's bombardment started 22 days ago, hundreds of buildings in Gaza have been destroyed, as Honey was explaining there. Homes, schools and hospitals have all been hit. Rescue teams have spent days desperately combing through the rubble, trying to save survivors and recovering bodies. Hundreds, including many children, are believed to be trapped under buildings right across the strip. Well, the World Health Organization says it is unable to reach its staff and health facilities in Gaza. In a statement, its chief says evacuation of patients is not possible under such circumstances, nor to find safe shelter. The blackout is also making it impossible for ambulances to reach the injured. We are still out of touch with our staff and health facilities, and I'm worried about their safety. The Israeli army has demolished the home of a prominent Hamas leader in the occupied West Bank. Imran Khan has the latest from the Jalazon refugee camp.
The raid actually started around 2 a.m. in Jalazon refugee camp, where I am right now. About 200 Israeli soldiers came into the camp and secured the area around it using heavily armored vehicles. They then brought in a heavily armored bulldozer and destroyed Bajis Naklis' house. Now, Bajis Nakla is a Hamas activist here in Jalazon refugee camp. He's been in and out of prison for a very long time. He was last in prison on administrative detention last year, and he was arrested on October the 9th, just after the October 7th incident.
I'm not cooking. Can't bother to dig everything out of the bottom of the freezer again.
This is simply Israeli vengeance. That Bajis Nakli isn't actually.
Oh, they're still waffling on about this.
He's a political activist for Hamas. He is simply just looking for a political solution, and they say that this is.
I really don't understand why Al Jazeera
they knew that there was a danger.
It's so anti-Israeli.
We've seen it many times across the occupied West Bank and in occupied East Jerusalem. Whenever somebody gets arrested,
I don't know what Israel did
11 people
to really wind Al Jazeera up. It's got nothing to do with the journalists killed last year.
Its ground operation in Gaza overnight. Let's go to Salah Hadat, who is live for us in occupied East Jerusalem. And so the Israeli army has said that 100 fighter planes were used in the overnight raid. What else did they have to say?
In the Second Gulf War, Al Jazeera's officers were
150 Hamas
demolished by the United States Air Force because they spied for the enemy.
On October the 7th, they said that they'd killed a couple of high-ranking Hamas commanders, including, they said, the person that's in charge of the aerial attacks. So they,
there's one very important word that these reporters aren't using. Allegedly killed two Hamas leaders.
The Israeli government and the military have certainly released a video showing their tanks. They said entering. They said that the troops are still there within Gaza. They haven't left in the last few days. We've seen some small incursions of them moving in and testing the waters, it seems. But last night was definitely the biggest number of tanks that we've seen moving in. Of course, where do we move on from here from today? We're yet to hear from the government. They said it's constantly changing as the war cabinet meets to decide what its next steps are. But for the time being, they are insistent on targeting those Hamas tunnels. That comes also after an accusation yesterday by the military that the headquarters of Hamas is underneath Al-Shifa Hospital.
Is this one right?
Has denied.
And Sarah, what's been the reaction so far in Israel, especially from the families who have captives being held by Hamas?
These explosions you see now, that's not them hitting the target, that's the bomb, the missile exploding. This is all the missile. It's not the thing. The smoke is the result of the bomb, but the flash is the actual bomb exploding. That's the size of the ordnance they're using. It's well out of order.
Israeli media, this hasn't been confirmed by the government itself.
Yeah, it's like trying to squat a fly with a 1,000-pound bomb. You know, there's no need for it.
For him to hear their concerns.
They haven't got a clue.
Concern for them, of course, is speaking to one of those.
Now, imagine after the IRA
she told us last night was
did a bombing campaign on mainland United Kingdom. Imagine if we'd gone into Northern Ireland and we flattened half of Northern Ireland because of it.
Interestingly,
we'd all be in prison cells now.
Hamas off the back of a meeting yesterday in Moscow.
I don't know how Israel's getting away with it.
Some of those Russian
I really don't, because it's well out of proportion. If you think someone's on a mass thing, well, let me ask the question: why is it in the West Bank they're doing raids and arresting Hamas supporters or fighters, but in Gaza they're totally flattening the place? So why are they not flattening Gaza, not arresting people, but in the West Bank they're completely flattening it? They're arresting the guys. Yeah, all right, they are demolishing a couple of houses now and then. But mostly, where the hell is this?
Palestinians are taking place.
You look at these protests and it proves how stupid people are.
Okay, right off the bat, I wanted to warn you about the risk of wildfires along the border with China and North Korea. Weather alerts out for that. The area has been incredibly dry as of late. Different story for Japan's main island of Honshu. Still getting striked with some showers, breezy conditions as well. Not too far away from Tokyo, we'll see wind gusts of about 80 kilometers per hour. Most of the rain is in southwest China, so Yunnan and Guangxi provinces just to the south of Guilin, and that rain is falling across the Pearl River Valley. Off to India, and it's the southern slice here where the rain is falling through Kerala state, Tamil Nadu, that's also pushing into Andhra Pradesh, and also some torrential downpours right across Sri Lanka on Sunday. For Pakistan, it's quiet. The sun's out. That's allowing temperatures to rise in Sindh province. So Jacobabad, 35 degrees, the number for you on Sunday. There have been some flooding in Jeddah with these big storms around the Red Sea, also pushing into Eritrea. And I think we'll expect much of the same on Sunday. These storms still erupting around Jeddah. And we also have some rain for Al Ula as well. But up and down the Gulf, comfortable conditions, 32 degrees for us here in Doha on Sunday. Okay, I'll see you soon. Bye.
Storms in Mecca. Now that's interesting.
You're watching Al Jazeera. A reminder of our top stories this hour. Israel has subjected the Gaza Strip to the heaviest bombardment since the start of the war on October the 7th. Overwhelmed hospitals are at breaking point. The United Nations says civil order has collapsed. Israel has severed communication networks right across the territory, and residential areas in the north and centre have been bombed. The Turkish president has condemned Friday night's bombardment, writing on the social media platform known as X. Recep Tayyip Erdogan said the ever-increasing Israeli bombardments on Gaza have again targeted women, children and innocent civilians, deepening the humanitarian crisis. Erdogan says Israel must immediately get out of this state of madness and stop its attacks. And he called for a large rally at Ataturk Airport in Istanbul to declare solidarity with Palestinians. Well, Osama bin Jadeh joins me live from that rally in support of Palestinians.
Oh, this is Turkey. Okay, this is the airport in Turkey.
In his comments.
You've seen these statements in the last few days where you see a strengthening of that stance, naming Israel in particular, saying Hamas is not terrorists, Hamas are freedom fighters or Mujahideen.
Just got to mute that a minute because of the music. Don't want a copyright strike. Let the music finish and then I'll turn the sound back up. Oh my God, this is London. Wow, this is London. No wonder no one's on my channel. They're all in London. The march. Flipping heck whack. Brain heck. Wow. Wow. That's worse than the Iraqi war protests, isn't it? Wowzer. I don't know where they are. Wowzer. No, I turned it down while that was on because the music.
Indonesia's capital, Jakarta, they condemned Israel for carrying out what they described as
Oh,
a genocide.
when will the world wake up?
Called for an immediate ceasefire. And in New Zealand's capital, Wellington, thousands of protesters marched to Parliament to call for a ceasefire. Many carried Palestinian flags and placards in support of Gaza. They also want humanitarian aid delivered to the territory. Hundreds of activists have staged a sit-in in New York's Grand Central Station.
Oh, that's Grand Central, is it? Oh, right.
The group Jewish Voice for Peace is calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza and for what it describes as the imminent genocide of Palestinians to be halted. The United Nations General Assembly has approved a non-binding resolution calling for a humanitarian truce in Gaza.
Oh, this is hilarious.
By 120 votes with 45 abstentions, the US and Israel were among 14 countries that opposed it. Gabriel reports from the UN headquarters in New York.
The U.S. ambassador addressing the United Nations General Assembly.
Thank you, Mr. President.
During a meeting calling for humanitarian truce between Israelis and Palestinians. And at almost exactly the same moment, Israel began some of its most intense bombardments of Gaza. It's unclear if Israel timed that and the subsequent blackout of Gaza to coincide with the UN meeting. At that meeting, an amendment sponsored by Canada and the U.S. that would have added language condemning Hamas was voted down.
Draft resolution.
But the 193-member General Assembly passed
Wow.
the resolution
Is adopted.
authored by Jordan and the Arab group. It calls for an immediate truce, release of all civilians, and an uninhibited flow of humanitarian supplies into Gaza. The U.S. was the only major world power that voted against it. But even with the overwhelming support, it's unlikely the resolution will mean an end to the war. Resolutions adopted in the General Assembly are non-binding, meaning that Israel can just ignore it without many repercussions, as they've done in the past. Nevertheless, the Palestinian ambassador spoke after the vote was taken, and he said Israel should be held accountable because the world has spoken.
The General Assembly prevailed and sent the appropriate message, not only to the Palestinian people, that there is justice and fairness and international humanitarian law upheld by the General Assembly, but also it sent the message to everyone, enough is enough. This war has to stop. The carnage against our people has to stop.
3 weeks into the conflict, and finally the UN has spoken. A clear signal. The majority of the world wants the bombardment of Gaza to end. Gabriel Elizondo, Al Jazeera, at the United Nations.
Okay, let's bring in Tama Kamut. He's a professor of public policy at Doha Institute for Graduate Studies. Thanks again for joining us. We heard the UN Secretary General there saying that Israel should be held accountable. How would, and I guess, what would that look like? I mean, first of all, ceasefire, humanitarian ceasefire, but I guess looking further ahead than that.
So basically, Tom, when you see the conduct of war in Gaza, Israel basically is in a breach of every international law, the way it's conducting its military operation. And there is ample evidence, I mean, that there have been mass atrocities and disrespect of international law in the way they're conducting the war. And I think starting from there, I mean, if there is a sincere will to investigate, to open investigations with regard to this conduct. I think we have enough evidence for Israel to be prosecuted. Netanyahu, the Israeli army generals. So but this needs international will.
Yeah,
this international will, meaning that big countries, big powers should not veto this or intervene to prevent it. I know Israel is not signed on the ICC agreement. It's not a member of the International Court of Justice, but still there are other mechanisms to bring Israeli journalists, politicians to justice if there is an international will.
Yeah.
So,
and to get the international will, you need the people in a lot of Western countries that have backed Israel to come out and support. And as we've seen just in the last few hours, I mean, 1 million people in Istanbul, hundreds of thousands out on the streets in London as we speak. How important is it that they continue to do that?
I mean, even in New York, I mean, the group
Yes.
Jews Voices for Peace. I mean, and
No,
the slogan is-
what is the point
and these
of,
are
right,
members of the-
let's take the New York protests, yeah? That's now brought Grand Central Station to a standstill. So that now going to put people out of work in New York because people can't get to work, they can't get around. Now the people in London, they've brought London to a standstill, which means people in London can no longer get around to do the jobs. So what exactly are these people proving? Because next week, they'll go into work and they'll say, oh, I'm sorry, we don't need you. Because of you all protesting over the weekend, we're firing a lot of you because we've done no business all weekend. So we can't pay your wages bill next month. So, bye-bye.
How do you see those two coming together? Do you think they will come
Same in New York, same in thing. All these protesters, they're not
rallies of solidarity?
protesting support for Palestinians, they're destroying their own countries and their own economies. Because all the time these people are on the streets, they're blocking traffic. That means public services can't drive, so your trams can't go, your trains can't go, your buses can't go, emergency services can't get around the town, so people die. So what is this 100,000 people? What have they gained? When they go into work next week and they all lose their jobs because there's no money to pay them because people couldn't get into the businesses to shop. So there's 100,000 people on the streets of London. Why aren't they in shopping malls shopping? Why aren't they in work? Or why aren't they at home online buying from online? Because all they're doing now is they're protecting terrorists and supporting Hamas, basically, while they're totally destroying their own economies. Now, next week, when I go try find a job, I'm not going to be able to because all the companies will be closing down because they've lost millions of pounds in revenue this weekend because of a bunch of dickheads on the streets. They've got absolutely, they've gained nothing by it. It's not going to change anything. No one's going to listen to them. And then Israel's response at dusk tonight will be another bombardment last night. The more people support Palestine and not Israel, the more Israel will bomb. But people are too sick to understand that. This is why the world economy is crashed. You know, people should be working now, spending time with friends and family, shopping in malls, traveling, sightseeing in the United Kingdom. But they're not. They're out on the street protesting because all people want to do now is destroy lives. Right. I see this protest in London today, and that says, right, now I'm glad I closed the food bank down, because if these people can protest on the streets of London, bringing it to a standstill, they don't need my free feed. They can live with it now. They can starve to death for all I care now. Because all that protest has done is done more damage to the British economy. That's all they've done. They're not gonna gain anything out of it. So we support Palestine. Okay, so go on my website, donate money, and then after it's all over, I'll send each family in Gaza £1,000. You know, protesting on the street, that's going to do nothing. That's going to provoke Israel more. Then America will put more aircraft carriers into the Med. Then that will get Iran's back up. And it'll just escalate. And instead of a conflict being over within a week, 2 weeks, it'll probably be like Afghanistan, still going on 20 years later. They've done absolutely nothing by these protests.
Those who ask for these sort of things, they don't know Palestinian reality.
All protests and strikes do is kill. Like all the Hollywood actors, still on strike. Now they can't produce films. That means Hollywood actors are going to be made unemployed. People are going to stop the streaming service. Right? All this war's doing is saying, right, we won't buy from Israeli companies. We won't buy from American companies. We won't support Iran. We won't support Lebanon. This is not about a protest in support of Lebanon people. This is a protest to bring the world economy to an end. Total nonsense. And this is why people like me can't make a living now. Because what would have been our potential customers are on the streets protesting rather than spending on time online, spending on my travel site, spending on my language course site, and spending on my visa site. Because now they're not going to have any jobs, so they'll have no money. The universal credit system will refuse to pay them. Oh, you want to sign on? Okay. Were you at the protests in London for Lebanon? Yeah. Why? Oh no, it's just we're just asking, and that's it. Their application gets refused. You, what they call it, self-inflicted. You made yourself redundant. You put yourself out of work, so we're not going to pay you anything. Then they end up on the street, but not protesting, living in a tent on the streets.
And during those first few hours or few days, has there
You
been
know,
any contact?
business owners
Considering that the
all over the world now
I think is still ongoing.
are looking at these news reports and they'll go, right, we'll file bankruptcy, we'll fire all the staff. Because it's not worth keeping the business open anymore. We're borrowing money just to pay the wages, so there's no point. So we'll close the business, we'll sell all our assets, and then we'll go retire on the beach somewhere while our staff live in poverty because they brought it on themselves.
Geographically separated from Gaza, and there is no way to reach Gaza from here. So apart from calling for ceasefire,
Unbelievable.
for humanitarian corridors, for safe places, what can you do?
It's not what can we do, what we have been doing. We have been doing a lot. Our relationship with Gaza has nothing to do with the separation of geography. We have been in charge of Gaza for the last 30 years, even during the time that Hamas has taken over Gaza in 2007. We have been responsible for education. We have been responsible for health. We have been responsible for water, for electricity. We paid the salaries. We paid the bills. So our relationship with Gaza never stopped. So these people are our people. We don't do them a favor. Palestinians are one wherever they are. Now, water is installed in east of Khan Yunis. We are providing medical supplies through Red Cross, and we have been also providing financial assistance through WFP. We were working with them, and we are working also. We have 3 ministers today who are locked in Gaza, and they are doing all what they should do as ministers in this government. They are visiting hospital, they're looking at needs, they're providing us.
You know, you go into any of the live streams,
it's not that we are
people aren't in the live stream because they're interested in what's going on. They get just to troll it and talk rubbish. Like, oh, let's quote this quote from the Quran. Let's quote this from the Bible. Let's advertise our porn site. You know, we're not here because we're interested in what the video is. We're only here to troll and to destroy a channel. Like they totally destroyed the Times and Sunday Times channel. Totally destroyed it. Totally destroyed it.
It's very unfortunate that these international leaders who have been really making...
One of the channels had 10 moderators in it the other night. 400 people. I went back to the channel last night. 4,000 people in there. They'd sacked every single moderator. Got rid of the moderators. 4,000 people came into the room.
To reconcile between Hamas and Fatah. Don't you bear also responsibility somehow for what's happening in Gaza? Don't you think you gave a window of opportunity for Israel to do whatever it wants?
No, the Israeli attacks on Gaza has been systematic. The Israeli attacks on Palestinians, wherever they are, has been systematic.
But the ones on Gaza have been systematic ever since these divisions exist.
No, not much more before. Of course, it's a very sad situation in which Palestinian reality and Palestinians are not united. We did every single effort. We did sign 4 agreements in order for us to bring Palestinian unity, and the dialogue is still ongoing. I don't want to go, it is not the time to go into a blame game now. The priority today for us is that we stand united with our people, and we stand united to stop the war, and we stand united to relieve our people. This is the most important thing at this stage. I'm not going to go into the blame game, who's responsible for not making the Palestinian unity achievable. That's a different story. But I am sure that after this situation, there is no room under any circumstances for a continuation of the split. This is a situation that does dictate itself on ourselves that the Palestinians should be united.
So does that mean that after this is over, the Palestinian Authority will also look a bit inwards and see how it could change? Because there's a lot of complaints, even here in the occupied West Bank. People are criticizing you, and I'm sure you're aware of that.
The situation in the West Bank is a very dangerous situation. The issue is not about criticizing us or not. The reality is very tough. This is a situation in which you see the Israeli army encouraging into the Palestinian towns, Palestinian villages, Palestinian cities every single day. 985 Palestinians have been arrested, and even more than 1,000. The other issue is that the Israeli colonization programs have intensified. The number of settlers today in the Palestinian territory is more than 750,000, and it's growing every single day. Land confiscation, the incremental annexation of certain areas, the wall around Jerusalem, the incursions into Al-Aqsa Mosque. So all these Israeli acts, the reduction of our money, every single thing that is people that they feel in the street, we feel it as well. The issue is not that the Palestinian people are on one side and the Palestinian leadership on the other. We are not, because we and our people are under attack. And Netanyahu's strategy has been designed to fully and totally isolate Gaza and to gradually and incrementally annex the West Bank.
Frustrated with the Palestinian Authority. I'm sure you're aware of that. Especially that half of the population here in the occupied West Bank is below 25. Those are the ones who risk their lives. Those are the ones who go to clashes. Those are the ones who are targeted by Israel during the nightly raids and during all what's happening. Do you think that somehow you have failed them, that something you haven't done enough to protect them?
Not at all. The issue is that there is an occupying army. And as I said, we are under occupation. And the Palestinian Authority as an organ of the National Liberation Movement, the PLO, the different political factions, we fight every day. Palestinians have been resisting in the West Bank. Of course, the PLO and different political factions have adopted peaceful resistance all over the years. But obviously the Israelis, they don't understand this. The Israeli machine, killing machine, does not know a peaceful demonstration or whatever. The Israeli government has actually changed rules of engagement, and therefore it's not that the Palestinian people are frustrated. This situation is a situation in which one can call extremely dangerous in the West Bank and genocide in Gaza. And when the Palestinians are under attack, it's all of Palestine is under attack. So we are all angry. We are all for one, and everyone is for all. And that when we speak about defending our farmers who are collecting olive trees, we are facing the settler terrorist attacks. And also we have formed committees to defend people in the villages and the refugee camp in the cities and so on. So we are doing every possible way. Our president has been at the United Nations more than once calling for international protection for the Palestinian people. So these are things that we have been doing here. Of course, Gaza is not under occupation, Gaza was under siege for the last 17 years. It's a very difficult situation, and therefore Palestinians, as I said, we are doing everything that can be done under the current situation to protect our people. The issue is not only what the Palestinian Authority is doing, it's what we are doing all together. And I think we are doing every possible that we can do to save the lives of our kids, our children, our women, and so on.
So if it's what the Palestinians are doing together, the political leadership is doing together, why is there always a need, each statement, to say that only the PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization, represents the Palestinian people? That excludes many political factions. So why is there a need to always underline that?
Because the issue is not about excluding or including. The PLO has been the sole legitimate representative of the Palestinian people, and the PLO wanted an open dialogue with Hamas and Islamic Jihad so that they will be included within. The PLO is an organization that's a coalition of all different factions, and the PLO has 13 different factions, and therefore Hamas has always been invited to join the PLO. Islamic Jihad has been invited to join the PLO. Of course, you need dialogue, and you need to agree on what is the political program, what is the struggle program, what are the different programs, so that we agree on one unified front based on a political agenda. Otherwise, everybody will be shooting, somebody will be shooting left, somebody should be shooting right. No one can make peace alone, and no one can make war alone. We have to be united and decide together to go to war and decide together to go to peace whenever any of these is possible.
Looking forward, Israel says it will carry out a ground incursion. We don't know when yet. The military also said that it's taking its gloves off when it comes to the occupied West Bank and going after Hamas across the West Bank. And in all of this, President Biden is actually doubting the number of casualties coming out of the Ministry of Health on a daily basis. He says that the Palestinians are inflating that. But with looking ahead, there'll be more and more casualties. What's your response to when President Biden puts in question what you say?
Well, look, first of all, the numbers that comes out of number of Palestinians killed are numbers of the Palestinian Ministry of Health, our Ministry of Health, because we are in charge of the health sector in all of Gaza in the same way that we are in charge of the health sector in the West Bank and Jerusalem as well. So the numbers are our numbers. Of course, we take the numbers from the Director General of the hospitals in Gaza, and then they release some numbers we do. But to question this number is just for some people to relieve themselves from a humanitarian responsibility, because what is happening in Gaza is numbers are unbelievable. So people don't want to believe what is already the magnitude of disaster and the number of Palestinians who have been killed. People don't want to believe the thousands of children and women who have been killed. There are certain leaders who don't want to see reality. They only want to see what is happening on the Israeli side. They don't want to see what is happening on the Palestinian side. So therefore, the numbers are correct. They are our numbers. These numbers are fed to us from the hospitals of Gaza every single day that are received by our Ministry of Health. So therefore, this situation, I think, if they can ask the United Nations. United Nations has a station there in Gaza. The United Nations can verify every single number of Palestinians who are there. There are thousands of people who are still around 1,000 people who are still under the rebels. There are Palestinians who have been killed, who crossed into Israel. They're there, and we don't know the numbers of them yet.
I'm asking you this because at the same time, while President Biden is putting into question these numbers, the U.S. and other Western countries, including France, President Emmanuel Macron, are calling for the peace process to be revived at the end of this war. There will be many more dead. There will be much more destruction. Do you think that's even possible after all this suffering?
Business is unusual. And this peace process, Israel has killed it quite some time ago. So to speak about peace process, it means a more prolonged attacks and giving Israel more time to act. I think what is needed now by these leaders to call upon Israel to stop the war and to stop the aggression and to stop the atrocities and to stop the massive killing of our people. That is what is needed. Those who want to think of the day after, they should think of one thing, that Israel should be called upon to end its occupation that has occurred on the Palestinian territory since 1967, including Jerusalem. That is what these people should be calling for. But to call for a peace process is a very fluid statement. The peace process, there is a process, there was no peace. There was a peace, there was no process. Today, there is no peace, there is no process. So there should be one thing, which is call upon Israel to end occupation in accordance with United Nations resolutions and in accordance on the basis of international law. Things does not need negotiations. Things need an international decision by the White House, by Europe, to call upon Israel to put a program to end its occupation to the Palestinian territory. These are not matters of negotiations. These are matters of withdrawal of the Israeli army, withdrawal of settlers who have been a cause of very dangerous situation, and the settlers have been conducting terrorist acts against our people and killing number of Palestinians, innocent Palestinians, and their homes. So therefore, the call of a peace process, the time is now. Let's not look at the day after. I want to look at today. And today, for me, is end of aggression and not allow Israel to conduct a ground operation or incursion into Gaza, because that will cause thousands of Palestinians to die and to be killed and massacred. And also Israelis will be victims as well.
Even if there's a ceasefire today, 7,000 people have already died. And there's pressure on you as the Palestinian Authority to think about the day after, as you call it. It's the first time we hear in years Western leaders talk about a two-state solution. That had been gone. Would you be able to turn to the Palestinian people, whether here in the occupied West Bank or in Gaza, and tell them, after all this, let's talk peace?
After all this, we should sit down and unify our front as Palestinians. And I think after this, there will be no excuse whatsoever for a continuation of a split. After this, Palestinians have to stand united in the same way our people are united. political factions are not united, but I think we have made every single concession and compromise to allow a Palestinian reconciliation and unity. And our president, us behind him, we are all calling for this to happen. One second important issue, we have been in charge of Gaza for all these 30 years. So we are providing every service for Gaza. If there is no unity at the political top, but there is unity in the structure, in the service, and in the people. You know, Palestinians in Gaza, they get these passports from here, birth certificates from here, medical treatment from here, school textbooks from here. So we provide, and we have been providing all of this for Gaza. So there, we're one, the structure and so on and so forth. All what is needed is that we together at the political level come together and unite. One. Secondly, all these sort of atrocities, it will repeat itself if there will be no political agenda, political horizon that is designed to end occupation, because there are people who wanted to manifest occupation rather than ending it. And so the political track should lead to one thing, which is ending occupation, the manifestation of a Palestinian state on the borders of 67 as a contiguous sovereign viable state of Palestine that includes West Bank and Gaza. There are people who are suggesting some sort of political track for Gaza or some political track for the West Bank. That is totally unacceptable to us. We are not for partial solutions. We are for a comprehensive solution that does consider end occupation and the materialization of a sovereign, independent Palestinian state that 140 countries in the world have recognized at the United Nations. So therefore, what our main concern is today, end of aggression against our people. The day after is something that we can look at together with all Palestinian political factions.
And my last question, we don't know when that ceasefire will come, but after that,
well, it's still
what Gaza will emerge? Will Hamas still be there? Will Hamas still be in charge? How will the people of Gaza come out of all of this?
For us, the sadness of what we have seen, besides that we cry for the dead, the children.
Let's have a bit of entertainment.
Of frankly some atrocious stuff going on. Aren't they part of the problem here? And the government's only trying to make them part of the solution?
Well, I think what we see, actually, I'd compare it to...
Let me ask a question.
Last week, where the police
when is the human race going to grow up and take responsibility for their own lives and their own actions?
Been arrested or investigated, prosecuted by the police, completely trivial things, usually commenting on the trans debate and saying that women cannot become men, vice versa. Whereas when we see calls for jihad on the streets of London, the police suddenly become free speech absolutists. And so I think there's a similar phenomenon perhaps in social media, where there's all sorts of material that obviously should not be on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook that remains online. Whereas if you post pretty anodyne, pretty mild comments about trans issues, you can find yourself falling foul of a Facebook algorithm or social media supervision.
Ben, listen, thank you very much indeed for joining us. That's Ben Jones, Deputy Case Director of Free Speech. So the bill doesn't sound like a threat to free speech now because it's been effectively dealt with by campaigners. I'm sure some of you were there. That's weakened its intrusions on free speech. Is Ben right there? That is the thin edge of the wedge. Do you think that free speech is under threat in this country? Last week I had this conversation. A lot of you got very upset with me when I said, actually, when you contrast what is going on around the world and other countries, I named several examples where, frankly, you would not enjoy the liberties you've got now. Is free speech really under threat? And actually, isn't this bill a good thing? It is fundamentally going to make a stand against child sexual abuse using platforms for that sort of dreadful activity. You can let me know, 0344 499 1000, and you can also answer my question, what does a ceasefire look like? If you agree there should be a ceasefire between Gaza and Israel. If that's the case, how should it work? Should it be conditional? Should it be conditional on all the hostages being freed? Should it be conditional on all access to utilities being fully restored, allowed to be restored? You tell me. I can understand the humanitarian case and the urge to call for a ceasefire, but we've heard many people voice why it shouldn't happen, not least because it will make Hamas the opportunity to be stronger and Israel once again vulnerable to the sort of attack that took place on October the 7th. Nick, this problem isn't the real answer to peace in the Middle East. The problem has always been Iran. We should have taken them out, not Iraq, says Brian. There's always fantastic views coming in here. Stage left, not all of them that I'm actually predicting. Now, pro-Palestinian riots are taking place. We'll bring you the latest on that. And we'll be talking to a senior fellow at the New Culture
Pro-Palestinian riot
of these riots. Interesting, isn't it?
Not protest,
I'm sure
riot.
Other countries in Europe, some have tried to ban them, some haven't. We'll get an update on what's happening here, and you can join the conversation on 0344 499 1000. Or join me at Talk TV.
If you're from outside the UK, dial 44. If you're watching this on repeat, phone lines are now closed.
3, 2, 1, go, This, my friends, is Talk Today with me, Jeremy Kyle. And me, Nick Whittle.
This is the moment when I saw my life flashing before my eyes and realized I had to live more.
He became the director of his life, and Exotica, an extraordinary travel crafter, made it happen.
Has to be more epic, like it not. Great, magnificent.
What did you wish for?
That it's affordable.
Start planning the life you want to see flashing before your eyes at exotica.com.
1 in 8 men will get prostate cancer in their lifetime, and you are 2.5 times more likely to get it if there's an history of prostate cancer in your family. In the early stages of prostate cancer, there are often no symptoms, but catching it early is crucial to treating it. A simple PSA blood test checks your prostate health and could detect prostate problems before it's too late, and over 50s are entitled to a free PSA blood test from your GP. For more information or to donate to our charity, scan the code on screen or visit our website.
Bullard's Coastal Gin is inspired by the Norfolk coast, where pine forests meet marshlands and vast sandy shores. Savour the delicate saltiness, vibrant citrus flavours, and hand-foraged herbaceous botanicals. Award-winning sustainability and luxury. Flame-distilled, handcrafted, and hand-bottled. Our beautiful bottles for life are designed to be reused with our recyclable eco-refill pouches. Visit bullardspirits.co.uk.
Climb into the heavens. It's just gone 10 a.m. on this momentous day.
Fine Watch Club for buyers and sellers who understand a classic.
Overwhelmingly,
of people across Turkey in various cities came out in their numbers. The biggest protest was outside the Israeli consulate in Istanbul, where people were chanting slogans.
about borders say they can't reach their staff. The UN General Assembly has voted in favour of a resolution for a humanitarian truce in Gaza. Unlike Security Council resolutions, it is non-binding. Sky's Dan Whitehead has the latest.
I hope all these people realise that are at the protest, that they're at the protest and there's music playing, they can't upload it to the internet.
Israel's army says it struck 150 targets overnight.
You can't upload music to the internet.
Aerial section, Assam Abu Rakaba,
So,
said to be responsible.
if they're there just to get 5 minutes on YouTube, they screwed themselves up because they can't post it.
Regarding the activity from last night, there are no casualties to our forces. We will continue to make a great effort to safeguard our troops by
as soon as these people
but this is a fight.
Post the protest on YouTube, TikTok, it'll be taken down for breach of copyright. because the music in the background will stop their video from actually being online.
Forces remain inside the strip, continuing what it calls significant attacks from air and sea. Hamas says it is ready to respond with full force. Verifying just what is happening inside Gaza.
Right.
Mobile and internet communications are
Let me restart.
working for Sky News inside Gaza.
Be back.
Managed to send us this message.
We couldn't even